Ancient Rome wasn't just emperors, gladiators, and marble statues. Behind the togas and temples, Romans had sexual practices so outrageous they'd make even the wildest frat party look innocent. From emperors who turned their palaces into brothels, to fertility festivals that look suspiciously like modern-day raves, Roman sexuality wasn't just about pleasure. It was tied to religion, politics, and power in ways that still shock historians today. Roman mythology didn't shy away from sex, it celebrated it. Jupiter, king of the gods, was infamous for seducing mortals, often in disguise. Sometimes he became a bull, sometimes a swan, even a shower of golden rain. These weren't bedtime stories. They reinforced the idea that lust, power, and creation were divine forces. If the gods did it, Romans believed, so could they. One of their wildest traditions was the festival of Lupercalia. Think Valentine's Day, but with more blood and less chocolate. Every February, priests sacrificed goats, stripped naked, and ran through the streets slapping women with bloody goat hides. Why? Because women believed being struck by the sacred whip made them more fertile. And the night didn't end there. The festival wrapped up with a matchmaking lottery. Names pulled from a jar to decide your partner for the evening. It was basically Tinder 2,000 years before smartphones. The emperors took things even further. Caligula famously turned part of his palace into a brothel, forcing noble women to work as prostitutes. Nero went so far as to castrate a young boy named Sporus, dress him as his wife, and parade him through Rome in a mock wedding ceremony. For Roman rulers, sex wasn't private, it was politics. Who you slept with and how was another way of showing absolute power. But it wasn't just the elite. Brothels were everywhere. In Pompeii alone, archaeologists uncovered dozens of them, with walls still decorated in explicit frescoes. These weren't just raunchy art pieces, they were menus of sexual positions, complete with prices. Prostitution was legal, taxed, and widely accepted. Even Julius Caesar was rumored to frequent them. Same-sex relationships were also common, though Roman rules were less about gender and more about dominance. A freeborn Roman man could take almost any partner, slave, prostitute, or boy, but being on the receiving end was considered humiliating. To the Roman mind, masculinity was about taking, not being taken. Roman women weren't passive in all this. Medical texts describe herbal contraceptives, including the legendary plant silphium. It was so effective and so popular that it was harvested into extinction. Other remedies included crocodile dung pessaries borrowed from Egypt and magical amulets to ward off pregnancy. Not exactly FDA approved, but surprisingly inventive for the time. Of course, Rome also had a darker side. Ancient writers accused emperors of incest, necrophilia, even bestiality. Whether all of these stories were true or exaggerated gossip, the fact they were believed shows how Rome had a reputation for sexual excess. In the end, Roman sexuality was as complex as their empire. Sacred and scandalous, celebrated and condemned. They mixed fertility rituals with politics, brothels with religion, and turned sex into a theater of power. So next time you imagine Rome as marble statues and noble speeches, remember, behind the columns and forums, it was a civilization fueled by lust, legend, and a whole lot of goat whip festivals.